a few people brought up that game winner against Xavier at the Garden, where you just literally walked in and just pulled up, splashed it after Xavier just made a play on the other end. Obviously, you're no stranger to big moments. You kind of hunt them whenever the game's on the line. I saw it when I was scrimmaging with you guys. Whenever we play pickup, and you know that the game's on the line, all of a sudden your eyes get big and you're running
Yeah.
towards the ball. Talk about like what it takes to step up in moments like that and to consistently do it over time, where even when you're overseas now, your team still asks you to take big shots and make big shots.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that all came from my favorite player, Kobe Bryant. That's one thing I always
Rest in peace
always
to the
admired
GOAT.
about. Yeah, for sure. Like, I always wanted to be like Kobe, but I knew my game wasn't like his, but I knew his mentality. So I knew when the game come on the line, like you got to be ready to take that shot, make or miss. You just got to be ready for it. And especially on that stage, it was crazy. Me and one of my friends was talking about it, like, what if I have like that Kimball Walker moment where he hit that game winner in,
Against
in the
Pitt.
Garden, and so
Yep.
we was talking about it. And so it was crazy how it all happened. He came down, especially I like how it happened because Trayvon Blue, he hit the step back three on me. So I got the ball going right back at him. And so, I know a lot of people tell me, why you didn't wait until the end and the end of the clock to go down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got so excited. Coach Mack was like, let's play. He said, let's play in my ear. And I didn't know what to do but make a play. So
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the biggest shots in my careers and one of the best moments. And all my family was there, my sister, my nephew, my mom and dad. So it was just a good moment to have with them there.
That's dope. You talked about that Kemba Walker moment. You know, I played the big that switched against him a couple times in Germany. And I find it very hard when I was playing against him
Hey,
to
that's
not
crazy
say
too.
anything.
Because the whole game, I'm on play with you here thinking like,
Yeah.
Kimba did you dirty.
Bro, I'm telling you, I had that thought literally like from tip off until the final buzzer. I was like, you're gonna say something. Don't say nothing to him. Don't say nothing to him. And it
I
didn't matter
couldn't
what was
believe
happening. He may have got a rebound. He may have got a dunk. I wanted to walk over and be like, you know what Kemba did to you was wrong, right?
Hey, I would lose it, man. I would lose it.
Like, it's crazy to like the kind of guys that you see overseas that like you kind of grew up, like you said, like you watch those games, you vividly remember those games to the point where you always imagine yourself having one of those big moments. What are some kind of surprise players that you've seen overseas that you played against that you're like, oh, he's out here too? Like I'll give you an example of mine. Like when I was playing in Germany again, the first time I played against Peyton Siva, this is a guy who, when I was in high school and I saw his hoop mixtape, I was like,
Right.
yo, like this is what I gotta be. This is what I gotta look like. So
Mhm.
like, have you ever had those types of moments? Obviously, playing overseas, playing a number of different guys.
Um, I probably say one of my memories probably be like Mario Chalmers. I played him. He's out here in Greece, and it's like I'm
Mhm.
like, dang, it's like starting point guard NBA final. He's out of
Two-time
champion
NBA
in
champ.
Greece,
Yep.
and I'm going against him. So him, um, Norris Cole. I played Norris Cole this season. It
Hmm.
was surprising.
Asvel, right?
Yeah. Gabe York. I've always had that about Gabe York. That's just
I played
because
against
how
Gabe York too.
his
Yeah.
mixtape, and I was
Yeah.
compared to him. Like rivals compare me. Like that's my player comparison. So like I've always
Hmm.
wanted to go against him. So I got to go against him last year. So it's a lot. It's crazy. It's a lot of NBA guys or guys that you've seen in college that you would think that they should be in the NBA or out here too.
It just kind of speaks to the difficulties of actually making to the league. Like you see all these guys who are alongside you, the media loves them, they have a great story, but for whatever reason, the league is a different animal, a different beat. Doesn't mean that they're not good players, doesn't mean that they don't deserve a check for
Right.
what they're doing. It just
Mhm.
means they kind of have to find a different avenue. Like I mentioned earlier, you had two summer league stints, so you've been on those radars. I think you're still on those radars. I'm sure it's your ultimate goal, obviously, like the competitor that you are. I know that you're looking at some of these games, you're like, man, I should be out there too, right? So what are the things that you feel like you still have to work on in order to get to that level? And obviously, we're all rooting for you to get there.
Yeah, really my play point guard, more kind of a passer role. I think that's one thing that NBA teams are kind of skeptical on because I'm only 6'2". So,
Mhm.
they look at me as like, okay, you got to play point guard. So we know you can score. That's one thing all the NBA scouts say, like, we know you can go out and score on anybody in the NBA, but, we need these other assets that you have, like defensively. That was one of the biggest things for me in college. They were like, can you defend? Can you defend these point guards in the NBA? And I think each season I played pro, I think I'm showing people that I can add on to my game. And that's why, I've had some teams when I signed this year that was in the NBA like, oh, okay, we're going to be paying attention to you because the season you had last year. So, they're just telling you to keep up the good work and all that. So, I think really just being able to play that point guard role and be able to be a defender, be a role player is something that, will help me get to that next level.
I've seen a couple of your games this year. I think I watched you actually pick up full court one-on-one against some point guards. So I guess you're kind of well on your way. If that's the
It's
feedback that they're
crazy.
telling you, that you're working on it for sure. I
It's
never thought I'd see you
crazy.
doing that, bro.
Me and Coach Mac, because Coach Mac, he'll call me every once in a while. We'll talk, and I'll be like, I'll tell him, I'm like, if you had the player that I am now, and when I was at Creighton, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you might have a chance to do something because I'm like, I'm a better defender. I'm actually trying to play defense, and he's like,
Uh,
ain't no way you playing defense. I'm like, Coach, I'm really out here trying to play defense. It's crazy.